Hello everyone, welcome to Katharine's Creatures. This is a series where I get to talk a little bit about and touch base upon various mythological beast, beings, and the like pulled from lore worldwide. And I always like to preface by saying that I am not a linguist, so if I mispronounce anything, I do apologize in advance. And today I want to do something actually a little different. I want to talk, instead of a mythological or legendary creature, and mysterious situation involving some sort of unidentified animal that has some very kind of almost mythic undertones. And this is actually going to be about the Beast of Gevaudan. And the Beast of Gevaudan, that's essentially the historical name attributed to some kind of man-eating animal, or potentially multiple animals, that terrorized the former province of Gevaudan, which is in the south central area of France. And this particular series of attacks began as early as 1764 and lasted for a number of years, only ending around 1767. So in that span, these particular mysterious attacks spanned a sizable area that kind of ranged between 90 and 80 kilometers, which is 56 by 50 miles. So that's a big radius. And these particular beasts were described, again, potentially one, maybe even more than one, no one really knows today, but were often described as having a tawny coat or a coat with a russet color, dark streaks or stripes down its hide, a particularly noteworthy dark stripe down its back. There were definitely reports of it having a tail longer than a wolf, formidable claws and teeth, sizable creature, some saying as large as a calf, others say even larger, like a full-grown cow. And a couple of people even stated that they thought either that it could fly or at least could bound extremely fast across the field to reach its victims. And honestly, historically, again, people don't know what animal or animals actually cause these attacks. There have been a lot of speculation over the years, some people saying it could be anything from a young lion, a striped hyena that somehow got into the area, a large wolf, a large dog, or maybe some kind of wolf-dog hybrid. But these mysterious attacks are unsolved to today, so no one really knows. But let's go back to the beginning of this particular odd scenario. So in the Kingdom of France, the kingdom, because of the amount of victims that were accumulating, the king and the kingdom took note and actually spent a sizable and considerable amount of not just manpower, but wealth trying to hunt these creatures and trying to stop these attacks. Now, let's go with the numbers. On the larger side of things, there were potentially reports of up to 210 attacks, leading to, in one report, 113 deaths and 49 injuries, and 98 of the deceased victims were reported to be partially eaten when found. Now, other reports have ranged anything from 60 to 100 victims that were killed, with having greater than 30 people injured, but somehow surviving these attacks, and are the ones who report the beast and what it looks like. And the victims ranged anything from children all the way to adults, so it didn't really wasn't really picky on age. Now, often the victims also were all noted to have their throats torn out in this an unusual way. So you had this animal or animals attacking in a similar manner throughout this span of years. The first report of this mysterious creature was in early summer of 1764, and in this particular situation there was a young woman who was approached by this, what she described, something like a wolf but not a wolf. And she was out in the fields, and actually the bulls in this particular pasture ended up supposedly chasing the creature away. But it was a very strange report, and shortly thereafter became the first true attacks and subsequent deaths. Now, by December of that same year, so 1764, there was the first time someone suggested that maybe this is not just a singular beast, maybe there is more than one of them. But as, again, these victims and the number of attacks started to grow, by January of 1765, that's when King Louis at the time, I think it was I would have to check which one it was, so apologies that I don't have that one noted. But the King Louis living at the time, he actually created a reward trying to encourage people to hunt down and slay this particular monstrous creature. Over, again, as time continued and people were unsuccessful at hunting this mysterious beast, there were a couple times where they brought in professional hunters to go out and hopefully kill this creature. And at that point, the theory was maybe this was the animal or the Beast of Gevaudan was actually a pair of Eurasian wolves in the area. Now, over time, there were people who hunted the wolves and killed a bunch of them. There was a particular instance where a large male wolf was killed and they tracked back where its mate was and the pups were and killed all of them. And the hope was they eliminated the problem. And there was a brief lull for a time, but then again, the attacks started to occur again. And so the question was, did they even get the right wolves or creatures? And it was not until June 19th of 1767 where a particular person shot and killed another large wolf in the area. And thereafter, the attacks kind of disappeared. So, or at least a large wolf-like creature, I should say. Because, and here's the kicker, the hide of the creature of note, the final one they thought was the one who did it, and they wanted to preserve this creature. They didn't really have modern technology, and so they decided to try to stuff it. And when I say stuff it, I mean literally stuff it with straw. And so the hide of the animal was stuffed with straw, thinking that would preserve it. It did not, and it started to rot. And so the animal's hide was then just buried. And so later dates, some people wanted to come and actually study the animal's hide and try to figure out what kind of creature actually caused all these attacks. Unfortunately, the hide at that point had been destroyed and lost to time, so that leaves us to that question, was it a wolf? Was it something else? Was that even the right beast? Or again, because there were several different scenarios where different creatures were killed, presumably being the Beast of Gevaudan. You know, we don't know to this day. Well, and we'll unfortunately never know, but that mysterious aspect of this series of attacks I thought was intriguing, and I wanted to feature it today. If you have any questions about this or anything else, post them in the comments below or reach out to me on any of my social media. Until next time, everyone, Skål.